me tell you about Legend Seeker and how you can support its development while getting some awesome perks. By subscribing to our Legendary tier on YouTube or becoming a paid member on our Discord or Patreon, you'll get early access to all Legend Seeker lore and mechanics. This means you'll be among the first to dive into the world of Legend Seeker and give direct feedback that will help shape the game. But that's not all. Supporters will also be the first to playtest the system and will get exclusive invites to private streams where we discuss the game in detail. Your input will play a huge role in making Legend Seeker the best that it can be. Now, for those of you who love watching our tabletop role-playing game shows, supporting Legend Seeker comes with some fun bonuses for the casts. Here's how it works. If you are a Copper or Common member on Discord or Patreon, you can give a $20 benefit to a player of your choice. Silver and Uncommon members can give 2 benefits to 2 players of your choice. If you go the YouTube route, you can give a $50 benefit to a player of your choice. And for the ultimate support, Gold and Mythic members on Discord and Patreon give a $20 benefit to 3 players of your choice. You can choose from all casts across Moonskull. Every bit of support goes directly towards making Legend Seeker a reality. It helps fund the art, writing, editing, and eventual publishing of the game. So, if you want to be a part of this journey and support our shows, join our Legendary tier on YouTube or become a member on Discord or Patreon. We couldn't do it without you, and we're excited to build Legend Seeker together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the game. Hello, you Chad bastards. It's time for a little bit of Legend Seeker lore writing with myself, Erudi, your humble host, and my humble co-host, co-author, that you probably spend more time with than me on this channel, actually. We've got Frost. What's going on, man?
I'm drinking more coffee and writing all kinds of stuff up and adding some of the lore that you wrote earlier to this document. So we have it all laid out for everybody.
That's what I like to hear. I had my Death Wish coffee, so I'm feeling pretty good off that. Oh, am I echoing? Yes, I am echoing. All right, let me take a look.
Weird. Am I echoing?
Oh, I know why. All right, echo gone. Everything should be good. Sorry about that. Let me check. Frost, you say something as well? I just want to check your volume.
Am I echoing, or do I sound like a normal human being?
Okay, perfect. I'm going to put you down at 5. I'm going to put me down at 5. All right, there we go. That should be fixed. All
Excellent.
fixed. But yes, so welcome, Frost. Thanks for being here to do a little co-host lore writing stream with me. I had my Death Wish coffee already. That's been consumed, so too late, chat. Can't escape now. And now I've got my Sam Adams Cold Snap in my my tabletop ale glass.
Nice. Looks cloudy.
It is nice and cloudy. And it tastes pretty good, too.
Nice. No hot sauce in sight. Got it.
Do I have a voice mod? I do. Would you like me to use it? Let's see. I could talk to Frost. How can I talk to you this whole stream? I could talk to you with... Ooh, this one looks fun. Let's do this one.
I'm scared.
I could talk to you like this all stream. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
I don't think they would, but I could survive it. I put hot sauce in my coffee. I can take an auto-tune to Erudi.
I'll get tired of it real quick. I know why you are asking, Jensen. I know. I just wanted to use that.
Sassy Witch hates your mic cage.
Why do you hate my mic cage? Joe Rogan does it. Do you hate Joe Rogan? Disparu does it. Yeah. What's wrong with my mic cage versus anybody else's? I swear to God. But yeah, we're going to be talking some Legend Seeker tonight. And if you watched Wednesday After Dark earlier over on Moonskull, we did talk about some things already. Apparently you guys are interested in some merch. So I'm going to look at some ideas for that. Probably going to be logo stuff for now. Maybe some hats and shirts and things like that. Probably not quite ready to do character art and stuff like that. But hey, if you guys are interested in merch, we will do some merch, and you'll be able to find that over on Patreon when I have it ready. And it looks like, I don't know if you can tell by the map next to Frost's head, we might be focusing on the jungle region of Zanatha tonight.
Ooh. Yep, I am asking questions because, well, I want to fill a lot of this stuff out. So, since we're talking about it down here in Kiru, where all the barbarians live, doing their barbarian stuff, this is the southernmost tip of the Godlands. Like everything else is mostly up here and farther north. This is way down around the equator of Erudia. Huh? Did I say it right?
Erudia. Yes, the official name of the setting, thanks to these Jed bastards.
Oh, official. And out here is the Umbral Atoll, which is encased within the huge storm, which I'd have to draw up. But this is where the Brotherhood of the Gilded Veil did a lot of their horrifying experiments. To them, not horrifying. To them, very informative. But left all the fun things like velociraptors and all the other things that you came up with here. Now, they are gone from here for the most part, but there are still some old temples. The what did you call them? The temples of unveiling?
Yes. So the Brotherhood, if you're a Patreon member, you've already read all about them. I have to work on that. But yeah, they were very much into the idea that, the gods are only gods because they have knowledge we don't. That's their philosophy. And if we can just attain that knowledge ourselves, we're no different than the gods. We can be just as powerful as they are. So they got a whole philosophy about that and trying to discover the source of divine magic and ways that mortals can do the same thing. And boy, did they ever like to try to play God with their magical experiments.
Yeah. And all that stuff is left there. And so I have it basically down here in the barbarian lands because they were separated. And the other reason that these people, I think, got away with a lot of the stuff they did because they were so reviled is that Kiru closed their borders during the God Killer War because they didn't care about the gods very much. And these people are like, we don't care about the gods either. And the barbarians are like, okay, just don't go near those people. They're bad. But I did, and you can tell me whether or not this is crazy. I have the 5 tribes of the clans of the barbarians, and the monkey clan is the clan that was most interested in what the Brotherhood was doing because they're like, oh, you do all these things? Oh, we'll take some of that. And they were kind of their guides through the jungles. They were their helpers. They benefited. But then when everything got kind of thrown down, they lost a lot of their power. And then since they've also lost, since the war, their hold on things, they retreated to their ancient little city way at the southern tip of the island, way past the jungle and all the old horrifying things of Zanatha. So they can avoid all the other tribes because nobody in their right mind comes down here.
I don't blame them. To be clear, the jungles are already a very dangerous place before the Brotherhood is even involved. Very dinosaurs and other ferocious creatures down there that you probably don't want to run into. Big nasty bugs, things like that. But they were doing these experiments, and when things went bad, there was some destructive forces that happened. A lot of those temples were ruined, and some of their experiments were released into the wild. And they're a bit of a freak show, a lot of them, and very deadly and dangerous, even more so than the original creatures that were inhabiting there. Yeah.
Let's take the dangerous things and put it together with this dangerous thing and make a more dangerous thing.
Exactly. That's how you end up with velociraptors and other abominations. So a lot of the other, hybrid creatures and abominations and aberrations and things that you'll find throughout all of Erudia, a lot of them will have originally came from Zanatha, and just kind of migrated their way out and continued breeding. And so you're going to see a lot of the results of their experiments, not just like hybrid creatures either. So one aspect I really do like about the Brotherhood is when they initially were created, they were widely reviled. They were like taboo. You didn't talk to them. You don't touch them. The 8 towers can't stand them. very bad if you talk to them. But then the war started up, and everybody wanted an edge in the war, and suddenly they were popular. You really wanted to talk with them and find out what sort of things they were cooking up in their little labs and inside their temples. Um, and so you end up with a lot of things like these oozes that were created, for example. You got the gray oozes that they created that you can drop into your enemy encampment. They'll go through, degrade their equipment, disintegrate their supplies, cause havoc. All of that stuff is born of these guys. So they've had a very big impact on the world. Typically not in a positive way.
I could imagine that we make items as well for in the world, like we have the stuff in the trinkets, but we also have things in libraries. I thought it'd be kind of fun, and I wrote one down, but I only wrote one down so far, like a title of a magical work that people could find, and it could be that there's like a 36 volume set or a 35 volume set. The 36 volume is missing of the Brotherhood's like lore research, their own bestiaries or something.
Yes,
that could be pretty fun.
I think so too. I definitely think so. And of course, their story is not done. So their leader, who was responsible for this, whenever the destruction of the main temple of Unveiling happened, and the cataclysmic effect that happened in that region occurred, he died in that process. So one of their many things is they're trying to bring him back, find a way to bring him back. But also, after the imprisonment of Grix, one of the big moments of that was that god destructive weapon was never meant to be contained in that prison either, and it couldn't handle it, and a lot of the energy dispersed out of him and out into the world. So there's pockets and shards of this god killing energy out there, and turns out the Brotherhood might have some interest in that stuff.
Yeah, don't open any bottles that you see containing interesting items in their labs. You never know what you're going to drink. So do these temples, in your mind, do they have like a specific name or a function, do you think? Like if we had one that people went to as part of an adventure, would be called like the Temple of, it's the Temple of Unveiling, but would it be named something specifically? Or
so they are temples of Unveiling, but they each have their, I kind of envision them sort of like the stations from Lost. I don't know if you watched Lost.
No, but I think I know what you're talking about.
So they would find like there'd be one station that's called the Kraken, and there'd be one station that's called the Rabbit.
Okay.
And the name may or may not have anything to do with its actual function and what kind of research went on there. But all the temple unveilings have their own moniker, so each individual one kind of has its own thing that it was doing, and there's no predetermined number of them. I haven't like put in a lore, hey, there was 10 temples or something like that. So there's always room to find another temple, another place that they were doing their experiments.
Okay, very cool. That gives me even more stuff to think of. Oh boy, Chrysanthe is here.
Yes.
I mean, hi, Chrysanthe.
She was just yelling at me in my DMs. Now she's in chat, monitoring my behavior. I see you, Chrysanthe. I see you.
Still wearing the ankle monitor. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I laughed at her for being put in a suitcase earlier, and she said, "Don't worry, Sevy has a plan for you too." ... And then would not elaborate. So a little bit nervous about showing up now, to be honest with you.
I would suggest getting an AirPod and tagging yourself somewhere, even if you have to hide it under your clothes, just so people could track you, just in case they try and send you to Colombia.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Don't mind me. I'm in bed now. Chrysanthe, that's not the sort of information you share with chat. Okay, you should leave that. That's you shouldn't put that kind of information out there. That's not very ladylike. Okay. You guys looked adorable with Disparu. Well, I mean, are you saying in spite of Disparu being in the picture, or the picture was adorable because Disparu was in it? That's the question.
That was pre-death of the stream. Pre-stream murder.
Oh God, I'm definitely not letting you track me. No chance. No chance. But yeah, so the Brotherhood, I'm really excited about. So this is sort of what I was talking about earlier in Moonskull, when I said. So a question I got from somebody was, or maybe it was more of a comment. I don't like how everything seems to be so God centric in the lore.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I wanted to emphasize was that is just setting up the history of how the land became to be what it is. The gods were very prevalent. They walked among men. They had great influence in the world. And then after the God Killer War, a lot of that influence, I mean, they're still there. They still have a lot of power, but they're more disconnected from mortals now. They've kind of locked themselves away in their own demiplanes, knowing that the destructive breath weapon artifacts are out there now and that they are no longer safe. Um, and their direct interactions are less frequent than they used to be. So, and there's more stories to tell, a lot more stories to tell than just what was God focused because of the history. And the Brotherhood of the Veil is another one of those things. There's going to be a lot of organizations, plots, and things that'll have basically nothing to do with the gods. You're going to be dealing with very different organizations, creatures, people, powers, beings. Kingdoms, what have you. There's a lot of storytelling room that isn't necessarily God focused.
Yep. And it's going to, I mean, you have to set the stage. You have to set all the background stuff because that's the nature of building all the conflict up because there's been, millennia of the gods and the people dealing with all this stuff. And that's just, it just makes it richer when people look back. And they may be, people in Greenhaven, in Fryland, just living their lives. They're like, yeah, we don't like the Agrians. Those people leaving us to all this stuff. Oh, yeah, I agree with you. While we're dealing with, the Fae along the road and normal everyday life because there's a fair coming up and we don't have enough beer because somebody like waylaid the truck. It's like the gods aren't in there, but you're going to deal with, going past shrines and the Fae. You'll deal with the trickster creatures and all kinds of stuff. Everything is just a consequence of everything that happened before.
Correct. And some of it'll just be like something I eventually want to do. There's a certain keep that involves a certain vampire general, and something an atrocity he did there, and I imagine that at some point being sort of like kind of like you see in the old classic tales. There's a location based super dungeon that you go through that. You go through this fortress, you deal with whatever haunts and traps and artifacts are there, and kind of unveil the story of what happened there as you go through it. And it's a piece of history. It's a piece of what went out on the land, and it's not actually tied to any deities at all. It's just a place where something really crazy happened, and the results of what happened forthwith.
Yeah, you got to have it. You got to have all that stuff. Otherwise, you're just going to be throwing people into a world where they're like, hey, let's go meet at the tavern. Okay. Hey, look, a dungeon.
yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, there's a place for that too, just having random dungeon stuff. But for sure, we want a lived-in universe with some rich history and mysteries for you to solve. There was a post I saw on X today that I thought was very relevant to the style that I want to write this in, and it's basically D&D and Pathfinder, tabletop in general. It all lives and breathes off mystery, and if you explain everything to the players beforehand or reveal every detail, you're sucking the life out of the game.
Yep. Leaving those little hints, those questions in people's minds, like Senate died. What happened? Oh, good question.
Exactly.
Oh, we'll figure that out as we go along with you while you're doing all the adventures and going through all the little books, and you'll find little tidbits here and there. It's more fun that way.
And sometimes you still won't walk away with answers. You just explore it a bit.
That is very true.
So that's the goal, to create mystery, to create a world that you're investigating as much as the NPCs and other characters and things that inhabit the world are.
Yep. And having that stuff all tied to whatever happened before, and have some people really focused on like, oh, well, this is, the history, the lore, the problems that we have. It's all based on this, and having their prejudices and their likes and loves, and also their conflict based off of things that sometimes aren't even right. It's just what they know, because I mean, what a person lives, 80 years if they're lucky in a world like this. What do they know?
Yeah, that's very accurate. And some mysteries will just persist forever. Like, for example, why are all the Chrysanthosauruses 5'2"? Nobody knows. They'll figure it out, though. They'll try to figure it out, but they'll never know the true answer. Looking at
Nature finds a
Erudi
way.
gives me a feeling on nature finds a way. All right, Ian Malcolm. Looking at Erudi gives me the feeling like I need to blow my nose. What the hell does that even mean? I don't even know what that means, Dragon Noodle Soup.
Making them sneeze?
I guess. Is he allergic to me? I don't get it.
It's a good question.
Wow.
You're making his nose tickle, obviously.
I guess that's it. But yeah, you guys can get previews of this lore and more in depth, things about like the Brotherhood and what have you. All of this stuff our patrons knew first before we even did the stream. So you could know about these organizations and things long before anybody else does, just by supporting us over on Patreon. All of the money that goes there goes strictly to Legend Seeker. We don't, use that for anything else. It doesn't go towards Moonskull, Tabletop, nothing like that. It is just strictly for the system, for this game, for the artwork. It allows us to do all the things that we've been able to do, such as getting Justin Gerard on to do art and put out more art pieces and get more text done. And some things you'll get to see long before everybody else, particularly if you're a higher tier, if you're gold or you're a mythic, you're going to see some things long before silver, copper, or the general public will see. For example, I'm probably going to be showing off a concept of the book mock-up here soon for gold tier or higher. So you should consider supporting. And this is a great time to do it because there is a free 7-day trial on, I believe, the silver and gold tier. So you can even go in, poke around a little bit, and decide if you like it and you like the value that it offers before you fully commit to doing it.
Nice. I gotta say, if Doge came in and looked at the books, they'd probably be like, "Oh, okay," they just walk off.
Yeah, they would.
100% to Legend Seeker, huh? Okay.
Yeah, they would totally get it. Nothing going to Politico from us. So the camera's focusing on the mic and not me. Well, that's a problem.
Act more human, real quick.
Is that human?
I don't think that's human.
No, that's not human. Okay, I tried. I'll put my face up, pull it back.
What I know, I'm a vampire.
Put my face up, pull it back.
Hello, Dave.
I don't know if that helped. How is Effie coming on the covers? Good question. So Effie, if you don't know, brought into the world a little one, and so she was a little busy there for a few months, and let's be honest, she still is. Those first couple years are a handful for sure. But she is back in the studio now, so she is finishing up the first cover. She's not ready to do streams yet. She doesn't have that kind of flexibility or freedom yet. But she is working on it. She's been giving us updates. So when our gold and mythic members see the book cover mock-up that I'm going to show off, you'll see the current state of it, and it's looking really good. And then shut up, Dragon Noodle Soup. I swear to God. God damn it, I hate all of you. Don't clip that shit. She has agreed to follow on and do the other two covers. So she'll be doing covers for all three books. She'll be doing the Seeker's Rule Book, or the Seeker's Tome, excuse me, and then the Tome of Threats, and then she will be doing the what we're currently calling the Erudia setting guide, but that might shift to the Tome of Erudia or something like that, where we're trying to nail down what we want the name to be. But she'll be doing the cover for all three of those. So we've already discussed what those covers will be, what they'll look like. So she'll be, as soon as she wraps up cover one, she'll be moving straight into the Erudia setting guide one, which has a really cool picture I'm excited about. So
It's gonna be
just go in and out a little more. So how many kids you got, Erudi, since you know so much? I have two kids. I don't really talk about them much on here because of the way the internet is. But yeah, they are out there, and they're little mini me's. Let's see. Do you pay Justin Gerard per hour or per art piece? Oh, it's per art piece for sure. So he has committed to doing some monsters, and I think he's going to do at least one full god. So all the gods are getting a full page image of art. You've already seen some of them. You've seen Grix, you've seen Arintha. We just put out the preview for Arendor. The next one's going to, well, not the next one that you'll probably see, but the next one that I have commissioned is going to be through Justin. He's going to do Mordecai.
That's going to be cool.
And the description for Mordecai is going to be really, I'll read you the description I sent him that he's going to paint if you want me to read it. Let's see. I got to find a place to pull it up here. Hold on. Let's see. Oops, that's not what I meant to click.
Phone yelling at me. I'm trying to figure out why my phone's beeping. Oh, it's because it's snowing. It keeps beeping my camera outside. Got it.
What are all the mythics getting? Are we getting full art and books? I don't know what you mean by that. You mean your characters? So it's going to vary per character and what your role is in that universe. So some of your characters might not come in at the first, for example, 3 volumes of books. For example, if you were, say, what's a good character from D&D that
from D&D? Oh, like an Elminster type thing?
Or yeah, okay, Elminster's good. So Elminster, for example, incredibly important to the universe, very big piece of lore, but he's not like in the player's handbook. You don't find him in the DMG. He ends up coming up later in either setting guides or in adventures or something like that. So most likely, I'm going to guess your characters would show up in that fashion. And yes, of course, if they show up as something, they're going to have art. That's a given. There's maybe one example I'm thinking of off the top of my head that I need to talk about with well, I won't say who. Their particular one might end up in one of the opening books. But yeah, so it all depends on what we end up ironing out. Again, I'll be working kind of hand in hand with you guys on this. So remember, the mythic characters are unlocked after X amount of time, and then once you've been mythic for that long, then we will make it official. Hey, this is a character we're going to work with you, and then I will work with you with the concept you have in your brain and figure out how that'll fit into the Erudian histories, and we'll get that going. Are there little frost bites? I don't know. Are there frost?
There are no little frost bites.
No little frost bites. Well, there you go.
Not a Calvino and his brethren and his horde, if that counts.
I suppose it could. What does that say? Yeah, I like his style. Could do.
I think SCH is something.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it. Something similar, probably. Oh, yeah. I'll read that to you. Sorry, I got distracted by whatever question that was. So I said, Mordecai, god of death in the underworld, a portrait of eternal authority, is the vision I was going for there. So this is the description that I gave Justin for this piece. In the depths of an ancient cavernous hall, Mordecai, the god of death in the underworld, stands tall and imposing before his ornate ebony throne, a seat carved with intricate spiraling patterns of souls winding towards an hourglass of souls, the holy symbol of his dominion. The throne itself is a monolithic structure, seemingly sculpted from a single massive piece of polished black stone, absorbing the dim light that flickers around the chamber. Mordecai's gaunt, ethereal figure dominates this composition, his translucent, corpse-pale skin casting an eerie glow against the surrounding gloom. His sunken, abyssal eyes, devoid of warmth but brimming with ancient wisdom, stare forward, piercing through the veil between life and death. His face, both skeletal and regal, bears the weight of countless judgments passed upon mortal souls. He is clad in flowing, tattered robes woven from shadows themselves, their edges dissipating into the darkness as though he exists only partially in the mortal plane. The fabric shifts and writhes subtly, hinting at trapped spirits moving within its folds. A crown of interwoven bones, collected from long-dead rulers, heroes, and the Forsaken alike, rests upon his brow, an eternal reminder of his rule over the departed. The air around him is thick with spectral mist, faintly illuminated by unseen energies, swirling at his feet as if the very essence of the underworld clings to his form. In his left hand, he holds the hourglass of souls itself, its frame formed from aged bone, its glass dark and infinite, with shimmering black sands that seem to move unnaturally, pausing, reversing, and flowing forward in their own accord, reflecting the ever-changing fate of the dead. His right hand is outstretched slightly, palm upward, as if silently beckoning the souls of the departed forward for their final judgment. So that is the description that I gave him.
As you can see, he has absolutely no idea, no detail. It's just a bunch of sketchy lines.
No detail whatsoever.
Not a bit. Down to the actual pose and stature.
Yeah. So there you go. That's what I'm hoping he's going to bring to life in a full-page portrait of the god. Coffee. I don't even know what we're talking about now.
Hey, he just wants coffee, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, make your own coffee. Oh, you want Legend Seeker brand coffee?
Oh, God.
It's Grix. It's the Grix blend. It burns. The God Killer coffee. Hey, you can make some God Killer coffee.
God Killer coffee would be pretty good. I would love a Legend Seeker brand of coffee, but man, I don't have time to to manage that right now.
Just you put a pin in that and go there. So I just had a brainstorm while we were talking, because I often do this while we're talking about other things, and while I do this all day, all the time, is how I write. Is I write things in the back of my head and I put pins in them and I remember the stuff and just write it and then start putting it on paper. So one of the things I did while we were talking is one of the temples of unveiling. I'm naming them. I'm trying to find old, like ancient words, like things from Mesopotamian mythology or old mythology, things that are otherworldly and weird. This one, I'm naming this one Alu, because that is a demon, I think, in Mesopotamian mythology that has no mouth, no eyes, and I think it has no ears. And this, I'm making it a temple, the Temple of Quietus incarnate. And basically, if you don't know what Quietus is, it is suppression, something that suppresses things, something that eliminates or suppresses. And this, I think, is going to be the place where they created one of the more heinous things that they made. The thing that has to do with the dwarves. If you recall.
Okay.
Because I think having each one of these temples be like, not like a magical school, but an idea, like we are trying to find a way to elevate. We're trying to find a way to suppress. We're trying to find a way to do whatever. And this is the temple of this. In their thing, because they don't have God, or they don't care about the gods. They're like, we can be gods. We just got to figure out all the things gods can do. And this one, I think, is going to be where that was created. Now, the question I have then is, since the Brotherhood's kind of sort of broken, but not broken, these would be mostly abandoned, except for maybe certain beings, hangers on. They don't have like, hey, meet us all down at Temple of Unveiling. Alu, go down. There's thousands of us. More like, I mean, 7 guys.
Supposedly, these temples are inactive and no longer in use after the catastrophe that occurred. Most of the wizards that were in that area perished in one way or another. Their creations overran the place, and it's more of a dangerous place for adventurers to go if they dare to try to uncover secrets and artifacts and things that would bring in great coin or great power.
Nice. Not to ask about Savage Talk. No.
Now, that's not to say it's not possible that maybe in a future adventure it turns out one of the secret little groups somehow survived, and maybe they're still working on some things. Hard to say. Hard to say.
Yeah. Or they could be in stasis there. Who knows? They could be in a little pocket dimension. Who knows?
So many possibilities. So there are dark versions of the gods, right? Is there a dark version of Grix that only tells the truth? So yes and no. So there are echoes of the gods. These are the undergods. They are in the underside, which is sort of like an echo, kind of ethereal, shadowy version of the main world that was created after a certain weapon went off and caused it to exist. And these echoes of the gods aren't truly gods. They're not actually gods. So they're not deities. They don't have the divine spark. None of that. They are demons. They are demons that have very high power levels and want to be gods. And so that is sort of their driving force. And that is what they use their demonic forces for. They want to attain real godhood themselves. They want to be taken seriously. They want their world to be a legitimate world. But because they're just kind of echoes and stuff, there might be some sort of inferiority complex a bit, where they want to take from the real world to manifest their own world. This is one of the reasons vampires exist. So souls they're not like a game mechanic resource, but in terms of the lore of the setting, they kind of are a resource in a sense. Mordecai wants all the souls to come to the Underrealms and go to their proper place. And even the ones that go down to Infernus, which is essentially hell, have their uses. They're damned, but they're doing labor while they're down there, things that in some way benefit the greater scheme of things, and doing the things for eternity that nobody else would ever want to do for eternity. So one of the big things is the underside doesn't have that. Their underworld, their nether realms are empty. They're not actually full of anything. There's no souls. They're just echoes of what exists in the real world. So to become legitimate, they want to take souls and create that same economy and that same power system for themselves. So they're always trying to find ways to manipulate mortals out of their souls through contracts, through deals, through dark bargains, that sort of stuff, or to try to limit the souls that are going to Mordecai to basically dampen their power, right? If we can't get them ourselves, we don't want you to have them. And so vampires are unique. So these mortals were like, hey, we want to live forever. Can you help us live forever? And the demons were like, sure, we can help you live forever. Just a tiny price. You're going to be very hungry for blood and want to turn others into vampires too.
Well, let's just skip over that part. Just sign on the bottom line.
Yeah,
please.
just sign this here, immortal life. You're good. You'll have lots of power. You'll be very happy. I promise you. So of course they took this dark bargain, and the people who signed this got what they want. They live forever, and they have lots of power, and they're very happy. But the demons didn't do this of their, the goodness of their hearts. The whole idea was a vampire, this monstrosity they created, is a soul that is trapped in this undead form and can't pass on to the afterlife. And if it can't pass on to the afterlife, that's one more soul denied to Mordecai. So by making these vampires, in a sense, a virus on the land who are going around and creating more vampires, that's more souls being stopped, more people being killed, more opportunities for demons to step in and steal souls. It's sort of an indirect weapon now that they've created. And so that's part of the reason you will see the Ebon Sentinels, which are the Paladin Order of Mordecai, always hunting them down.
Yes, I did sign that bargain totally. Without a second thought. Barely an inconvenience, Dave. Right.
Oh, God. Are souls divine in nature or are they arcane? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know that we've answered that or even really considered it, but something I'll ponder on. I don't have an answer for that one for you.
Ponder. it does. It's always fun to think about that, but I guess the depending on how you work all the magic and everything, because some systems explain all that stuff, some of them just don't.
Yeah, it's very possible. One of the philosophies I am taking on the system is not everything needs to be explained.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people want everything explained, or and they've gotten used to like modern systems holding your hand and telling you this is how this works. But I don't like it. I like leaving things as mystery and letting the players explore that and figure that out for themselves.
That makes sense. And also, the GM could just say, "Well, here's how it works in my version."
Yeah, exactly. They can come up with whatever conclusion they want. And maybe some things will eventually find some semblance of an answer through storytelling, but it won't be something that's known up front for sure.
Makes sense. So you're not going to be able to make a savvy roll and understand the universe. No -10 to just insight on the universe and be like, got it.
Correct.
Take at least 2 sessions.
Yeah. Yeah. She'll get there eventually. She always does.
Where am I typing here? I love it when I just totally start typing and I can't find where I'm typing.
Because one of the concepts too, and this is it's the game being a little bit meta, but I kind of like it. So the players are seekers. So our version of adventurers or pathfinders or whatever are seekers, and that's not just a name we give mechanically to the players in universe. People who are going out and seeking legendary exploits and items and going on big adventures are known as seekers. The game master is a keeper, a legend keeper, and it's no coincidence that the elder beings, the gods of the gods, sort of eldritch beings out there in the cosmos, are also called keepers. You are the legend keeper. This is your universe. You dictate what's going on in it. We give you the framework as a guide. Here's the land, but you are a keeper. You are in charge of this stuff. So yeah, you can make your own legend for your players and lore and what have you.
Lots of stuff in chat.
The way you have the mana stream sets up make it seems like the body offers protection against the corrupting effects of the mana stream for the soul. So long as the person is alive and in a body, they don't go insane. I mean, there is a little bit of that, but also that's part of the reason. So the mana stream is inherently dangerous. It is very corrupting, and yeah, it goes for the soul. The most dangerous way to use it is to course it through your own body. That's why basically every spellcasting class has some sort of conduit, whether it be a focus, a holy symbol, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a familiar or an animal or something like that. There is some way that they are channeling it, or they might even have protection through like a patron, right? So if you're a warlock, your patron is giving you that extra resilience to dive into the mana stream a little bit.
But when you say focus?
Yeah, I said focus.
Okay, focus. I thought that was the first thing you said. Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
So yeah, there is definitely inherent dangers to trying to channel the mana stream through yourself. And part of that is it is just so much easier to corrupt you and get to your soul and ultimately make you fall under its sway. So yeah, that's a big part of the system for sure. I am going to step away for just 1 second. I'll be right back.
Go for it.
Oops, didn't mean to do that.
Too late. You did it. All right, I wrote down the stuff about Alu, the temple here, which is the temple of Quietus, where the shrine to Quietus Bashmu is going to be the shrine of insidious magic, poison, manifold fractal magic, things that fold in and upon themselves and out upon themselves, forming very complex patterns and craziness. And now in like the old legends and stuff, Bashbu is usually like a feathered serpent, a winged serpent, a hydra of many heads, this kind of stuff. And this is their study into magic that can infect, can grow, can do things. Oops. I don't think annals me. I don't know, Chrysanth's typing stuff, but I don't know if it's real Chrysanth. Monstrous cats upstairs. Because I was moving some stuff out of a like a Tupperware, not a Tupperware, but a little Rubbermaid, like, I don't know, tote or whatever. Cat's up there. He's like, oh, don't mind if I do. And he hops in, he sits down in it, and he's all curled up in it, happily sleeping within 10 minutes. I'm like, I didn't have the heart to move him, so I left it up there. So now they're playing with it, and they probably knocked it over. Who knows? I got to go check in a little while to make sure they didn't knock it over and get one of the cats trapped under it, because they're probably sleeping there like, I'm trapped forever.
Gotta love cats.
I got robot. Oh, yeah. Oh. It's probably my machine kicking off a build. Or my yeah, I think I'm kicking off builds here. I forgot. It's late at night, isn't it? Yeah, my work machine. Let me check here and make sure. I think that's what it's doing right
now. What other questions you guys got for us out there?
I'll be right back to here. I just got to look over here. Ah.
And, you know, also, well, I'll wait till you get how is it my fault? I didn't do anything. I also like that you guys tried to blame me for Sevi turning off the stream earlier. Like, what the hell? How about in terms of, you know, so obviously we're still building a lot of stuff. This is going to be a big, very involved universe, and we've got a lot of territory yet that we can cover. But you know, what sort of things are you guys into? Like, what did you enjoy about you know, D&D and Pathfinder? Like, what sort of things intrigued you guys? Are there certain organizations or things that you really enjoyed, like thieves guilds or that kind of thing? Or because, you know, we're still brainstorming organizations and history, and even now I find a few things that I write myself into a corner on that I've got to fix. One of them being the creation of the underside. That kind of happened out of order of how I originally intended, because I moved a few things around. But if you notice things like that, it's always good.
Yeah. I mean, if there's something that, like you said, that somebody's always like, well, you've got to have a blah, like Thieves Guild, you've got to have a whatever, you got to have a whatever. That stuff all makes sense. And I would think that there would be, because of some of the classes that you have, there'd be slightly different things that might exist. Like maybe there is something for the warlocks or witches or something that we, you know, hadn't really thought of.
Oh, sure. There should definitely be covens and fuck. What's the warlock version of a coven?
Bowling League?
Oh my god, there's a name for it, and I am blinking so hard right now. But whatever it is, yeah, they certainly should have their own organizations as well. Gilded Vale. I'm convinced that the head of the Brotherhood was actually attempted to kill himself in order for his soul to absorb energy from the mana stream. Then when he gets resurrected, he might have godlike power, only arcane, not divine. Hard to say. I can neither confirm nor deny anything beyond what we have already revealed. Magic items, trinkets. There will definitely be magic items and trinkets. I know Frost said he wants to do one of these streams where we start talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One of the heavy things that we've been debating on is how we want crafting to work and exactly how much impact the current modern era of Erudia has to do with crafting such things. I'm leaning towards these powerful magical items and the way they were created, and particularly the powerful ones are not anything that anybody modern is capable of making. So most of the magic stuff you're going to find is going to have to be while you're out there adventuring, while you're out there doing your thing, or finding them in shops of people who've already found these things and valued them and put a price on them. So that's one element that we're trying to work out lore wise is how high / low magic do we want the setting? But certainly, yeah, there's gonna be magic items, and we've got to hash out a list of them. And we definitely want to get some that are tied into the lore too. For example, one that's just kind of goofy that we came up with very early on is the Nuggets of Nya. So that's kind of like our deck of many things, but in food form.
Fitting.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting. But they're a type of food that's prepared specifically for gods. Gods can eat them no problem. When a mortal eats them, it can have a variety of results, and not all of them good. As far as trinkets, yeah, if you guys, we're going to be making lists of trinkets for sure. They're going to be probably in the Keeper's Tome, which will be outside of the core set. So that'll come a little bit later. But there'll be things that are basically, tables of trinkets that you can find in different regions that players can either find, make, or buy. We'll have lists and tables for them. And some of them are coming from you guys. So whenever Frost does his writing streams, when you guys send in a $50 Streamlabs super chat, or I'm sorry, $50 Streamlabs, you can work with him live on stream as he's writing to come up with the trinket.
There we go. Got an idea for that. When I remember talking to you about that too, and I should probably send you that document. That was the one where I'd said, normally today there aren't a whole lot of magic items made, but like during the war, they were made like en masse. And if you find a sword that was made during the war, it's like, oh, look, it's one of the 5,000 swords that were forged by this place in the war. It looks a lot like all the other swords, but they're all magical. They're just like, we made as many as we could, as opposed to right before the God Killer War. It's like, hey, look at this beautiful sword I made. It took me like 7 months. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Look at all the powers we put in it. It's a thing of, near art, and it's really nice. But then you look at the sword that someone made back when, the gods were first along, and everyone's just like, oh, wow, that's pretty amazing. And
Yeah,
this may, be
for sure.
more powerful, more cool, more works of art rather than, yes, we made a lot of swords. They all look the same, but hey, some of them have different powers, but they're not going to be like a work of art in your hands. They're going to be really nice, but not as pretty.
Yeah, some will definitely be like artifact, like old timey, very powerful stuff. And some of it'll be like, okay, there was a war. Vulcan made on his forge, a mass supply of these +1 long swords, I guess we can call them, that are magical, but I mean, they're nothing to write home about, but they are magical. For the most part, these sort of craftings, although, are like for really high level wizards and mages of their craft, and it's kind of like in some cases their life's work. They spend months to years making these incredibly powerful items. But it's not something you would just probably as a player be making on the fly type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe so. Well, warlocks. Oh, maybe it is conclaves. That might be right, actually.
Could be, yeah.
Dragon Lord Soup says, I'd like to hear more about dead saints or people held in reverence. So people that might have a statue of them and such, and maybe an order based around that person. Well, the leader of the Brotherhood might be such a person. I don't think it's somebody who's revered by everybody, but he certainly has an order based around him. Also, there is a demigod. Xander's son, I believe, is one that
Yep.
we've established.
Yeah.
You
Ari,
want to talk about that?
yeah, Ari, the son of Xander, who died fighting Grix and his people when they shattered the Shining Bay and they shattered the islands and the temples. He fought the giants and the army of Grix to a standstill, but he was still killed by Grix's weapon. This little hill I have here next to the Caustic Strand, this thing here, this is where his cairn is. And in fact, this village is called Arisium because his name is Ari, and this is the village that was formed around it. So they have a temple to him, they have a temple to Xander, they have a temple to Thalassia there, and he is revered there. And in fact, over in Rivenmont, down in Clayton, this area, there is a dwarven woman who was literally just a miner who worked for one of the clans, but who helped them fight off a group of really nasty creatures coming to hit these people during the end of the God Killer War, and she gave her life to help all these humans, which is something the dwarves don't do. So she actually has skills, like the hero of Canton, Jane Cobb. She has her statue there, but she actually gave her life to save these people. So I'm throwing those things in where I can because they're just fun. You find them and you're like, who is that person? You're like, well, let me tell you the story about blah.
Yeah, and not all of it. So some of it will make it into this guide, some of it won't. Some things are notes we're putting in there for later, so you might discover it through like adventures and things like that, for sure. And something that I don't know if I've talked to Frost about it yet or not. But we definitely want to get some, kind of cities and stuff that are very like Baldur's Gate reminiscent or Waterdeep or something, where when you look at that city, there are some historical things in there that make a lot of sense. The legend of the staff that's hidden under the Waterdeep castle, or the statue of Minsk and Boo in the square of Baldur's Gate. Like there's history there. You just have to build it.
Yeah. It's going to be fun because we've got a lot of history to build on these places. And the way that I wrote some of this stuff up with Agrium coming in and saying, hey, we're going to help everybody come together as one group. We're going to fight, the evil gods. We're going to work with the gods. We're fighting with them. And everyone's like, yeah, we're with you. We're all one country. And then they slowly but surely were like, okay, we are getting our pants beat off. Okay, we're going to have to pull back. We're going to have to pull back. And they keep pulling back. And then all these people are left at the end of the Godlands or the God Killer War, like, wow, this is a really nice fortress. If only we knew how to fix it. And thanks for leaving us alone, Agram. And so they have these cool old fortresses. They have cool old roads. They have all this stuff, kind of like the Romans abandoning all their provinces. And the people are left with all this really nice stuff. But they're like, well, the roofs leak. We don't know how to fix the road quite well. We took that tower down because we needed the stone. But we're using that one. And all this stuff is there. And it's ready for people to, tell their own stories and do whatever they're doing in their own areas. But you've got all these layers to it, I guess I should say, where you can tell the story from whatever standpoint you want. But we've got all the different bits and pieces just kind of set up. We just need to really go into depth and say, hey, in this fortress, this is where this thing happened during the war. We've got layers of storytelling and layers of things, adventurers, all the stuff we can pull out of there. And none of it is just going to be a surface like, it's just a village with some dudes in it who sell logs.
Exactly,
There's going to be something.
Exactly. And some of it, like even some of it, I think one of my favorite pieces of lore that we've done so far is the Pirates of Concordia. I'm
Oh
really,
yes.
I love that so much. And it came from just a joke idea that we had, but it is actually a really interesting little group.
And there it is.
Yeah, there it is, Concordia. Inspired by the failure of one game, we came up with a really funny concept for a place, and it's not so memey that like that's something I do like to impress, because I know some people have expressed concern about like the memes or whatever going in the game. We're not really building them as memes. It's going to be legitimate lore. Anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about wouldn't even know that it was a meme. That's how we're building it. So it is a legitimate place with a legitimate history, and it's kind of a quirky history, and I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Dragon Noodle Soup, there are horrors in this ocean in Lost Alasia. There are horrors still living down there.
And there are more gods coming also, by the way. I know some people were asking about, I know somebody said that they felt the Pantheon was maybe limited, or that the alignments didn't feel distributed as well. That's because there are still some of the ones we haven't announced yet. We put in the ones that are already kind of written in the histories that we had fleshed out, but there are still a few more that we haven't introduced yet. They're coming.
Yep. And there's some of them are pretty interesting, I gotta say. Some of them I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what happens when you fill more of that out. But a couple of them that you've mentioned, I'm like, okay, that's gonna be fun. Even in the rough little forum that starts, I'm like, okay, that'll be fun. People like that, because people always, they're like, okay, this is this god, this is that god. They're like, where's my edgelord god? Where's my god that does this? It just didn't care, or did something really naughty, but is still around, or got thrown out and is there. I'm like, oh, I'm following that guy. It's like, oh, she's bad, I'm following her. Or she's really good, but nobody likes her methods. I'm like, totally going with her. So having those options for people is going to be entertaining.
Yeah, I'm very excited to unveil the other ones. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And even Erudi, I didn't notice that it's a meme. Hey, some of that might be true. I might not even catch it myself.
There's memes.
Did I miss the next part of the story with Sevi's character?
Excuse me.
I'm not sure what you mean with Sevi's character. I don't think we've even established that Sevi has a character. So you'll have to elaborate. Unless you're talking about what they were joking about earlier. In that case, don't take that seriously. They were just memeing. Sevi does not have a queen bee dinosaur character, if that's what you're referring to.
Oh, that's...
Now we do pay give a nod to several people who are kind of important to me, and the fact that we were even able to get to this point. For example, Grix. The concept of Grix I've had for a long time. A lot of people don't know this. I've been working on this game for a very long time. I started making this back when I had my original channel. That was like 8 years ago. But I just didn't have enough influence then, and it was just eating up too much time, so I kind of just let it gather dust. And I had these story concepts. The story concept of Grix you can actually see in the logo of Geeks and Gamers Tabletop and the intro I did for that channel, the whole the skull powering up and then the whatever. I already had a history for that character a long time ago. He didn't have a name yet, but I named him Grix as a play off of Griggs, which is Jeremy Griggs of Geeks and Gamers. So it's sort of an homage to him. And we do that with a few things. We have the Hairless Kennels, because Ryan was the one that ultimately said, hey, let's give this guy a chance. We might have some references to the Saska sisters and some interesting characters that I'm very excited about.
I think it'll be fun.
Oh, the miniseries that has Mai in it. No, he is not. We have not released a second part to that yet.
Nope. I am. Let me go look at the draft of that. Let's see where I'm at in the short story, because I had the second episode started, but I've been focusing so much on this. Let me look at the first one for reference here. Hello, first one. What is it doing here? Yeah, I'm a little over halfway through the second episode. I have a little bit more than half of it written, but I don't have the second part of it completely fleshed all the way out. I do have some questions noted there because I wanted to ask Erudi some things about how we wanted to go forward with some of this, bits and pieces.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so the mini story and the story I'm writing, they're pretty secondary to what we're doing right now, obviously, because those got to be like the major focus. But yeah, we're trying to give a little something to help build the universe and give you guys something to dive into and get to know the world a little bit as we're developing. So that's what this mini story thing is for you. Give you any references. I don't know what you mean by that. I saw your message. Yeah, we'll definitely talk more about what we'll do with the characters. So I got to figure out some of the Gollum aspects of my lore, and the thing you just mentioned. I won't say that out loud. We can try and explore it and see how it would be possible and fit into the universe. You should put in the devil's chair. Well, we do have a chair. And it kind of belongs to the devil, but not really.
I put this in specifically because of all that.
There it is, Mordecai's throne. Yes,
It is in this
and not
deep,
the one
dark lake up here. Yes, this is not the one that he described in the God's description.
Yeah, that is his current and new throne. This is something much different and older. Also really fun lore that's going to have some interesting stuff behind it.
Yeah, and it features my wondrous AI art that I did, which actually turned out kind of cool. But I mean, it's just simple AI art that I use for reference, like the stuff for the Azure Kingdom, where put the pyramid in there. I'm like, that looks really cool. I was like, wait a minute, let's see. Look at this ship. That's 40 feet long. I'm like, that would make that pyramid that they drew in the background about half a mile tall. Yeah, I don't think it's that big.
It could be. Who knows?
It would be large
if aliens helped.
Hey, there you go.
Oh my god. And yeah, so we've got so I put on the schedule for, we were talking about this on Moonskull earlier. We have a lot of stuff planned out, guys. This isn't like we're walking into this with the 3 books and then we're just going to wing it afterwards. I've already got outlines for several adventures and how those are going to play out. I've got the lists of what setting books will be coming out and when, as well as like advanced players guides and things like that. So I have a game plan for a release of books for about 3 years worth of material already planned, and a lot of the outlines and lore and stuff for that stuff written. So when these books are ready to go, when they launch, we will already be deep into the next books, getting those ready. So you guys will have content that's coming out that you can play in, and what have you. So we are definitely working hard on this stuff. And of course, over time, we'll bring on more writers and things like that, as we see success and we're able to afford to bring on those writers. And that'll be really good.
Be cool. It's already just epic and fun. It's just going to be cool to see when this gets in everyone's hands, to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. There's one, I've got a few adventures already in mind, but there's one in particular that I'm really eager to see how it turns out. I can't say anything that would be a good clue. You know what? I could just tell you at the end which one I'm talking about.
Okay.
If I can spell.
Getting it close would help, Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep.
I am in particular very excited about that one and the ramifications of it and how these organizations are going to respond to it. I'm really excited about it.
there's so much stuff that I think people are just gonna. Everybody should find something to sink their teeth into. Just take a bite and go.
Absolute. I'm also working on the side on a. I don't think it'll be possible to have it at the time of release, but pretty close. Sort of like a little starter set adventure that people can try out, and people who are just learning the game and the universe could kind of get their feet wet and sink their teeth in some lore and get a feel for what it's supposed to be like.
Should I pan over to where that's going to be?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, let's go over here. Boop, 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 boop. This area over here.
There it is. It's slightly covered by the Legend Seeker logo, but
let me do this.
there it is, Seabreak Haven.
And I'll move myself out of the way a little bit. Wait, no, move myself out of the way. There we go. Your other left.
So if you're wondering where the starting adventure will take place, you're looking at it right around there.
Yep. Got a mysterious little thing here, a village, some woods, nice and hills. You know, the major city over on the Caustic Strand with its little kind of sort of a road that goes through the mountains, but has fallen apart in the intervening millennia. And then the place that I said there are horrors in the water, right out there for you to play with.
Right next to it. How convenient.
It's just, a civilization that was beloved of Thalassia. Or Thalassa, that where her beloved people were, that has been destroyed by Grix. Place of love and harmony.
That's all.
Right.
And this is but feedback, by the way, is I know we've got several people who are subscribed over on Patreon. Feedback is extremely appreciated, guys, because we like knowing what you think, how you're enjoying things, and sometimes you notice things that we don't catch. And everything is an evolving process, even like Erendor. This wasn't something you guys particularly pointed out, but as I went through the design process of him, what I kind of realized is he had these three forms. One of them was as a green dragon, and then when I got the art kind of started for him, I realized this form is just a green dragon. How would he stand out from any other green dragon out there? So then I started working on, okay, what are the design differences on him that'll, when you see him, that is Erendor in dragon form. Same way that Arintha is Arintha, the same way that Grix is Grix. They are unmistakable. How do we make Erendor unmistakable? And so we added some features to his face and a few other areas on his dragon figure that'll really make him stand out. So even after I've created something and I feel pretty solid about it, we still find things like, oh, we probably should have thought about this, and then, work on it.
Yep, definitely. And that's the beauty of getting people play testing this stuff, testing it out, reading some of it, getting feedback on it. It's just incredibly important. It's so useful. I mean, I can't tell you, when I thought, like, oh, pretty sure I covered everything when I wrote my first book that I'm still trying to get published. I gave it to beta readers. Immediately some people are like, cool, what's this again? I'm like, crap. Okay, let me rewrite that chapter real quick. Let
me touch that up a little bit.
I was like, I could have sworn I had the idea in my head. Oh no, maybe I didn't. Okay, all right, there we go back. And my editor was fantastic about that stuff. She just sent me a question about something, and she'd just write "kludgy" over something, or "who?" I'm like, damn it. Okay, fine. I'll reiterate who this person is, because you haven't seen this person in 60 pages. Okay, got it. So it's really important. And that's the same kind of stuff I get from people when they talk to us about anything we're writing on stream. Doing that, they'll say, oh, have you thought about this? I'm like, nope. Make a note.
Yeah, we definitely get a lot of feedback from DNS for sure. And I read it. I do read it. And I don't always have time to like reply to everything, but we read all of it. That much I can tell you.
Glasses on his scales. Yes, Sassuich, you saw my ear there because I was scratching my ear, but the stream didn't die because my right ear isn't cursed.
Yeah, unlike somebody.
Right. Though I am going to have to hop off relatively soon because I got to get up in about 4.5 hours, and I have a whole bunch of meetings tomorrow. Why does my schedule look so full? Wait a second. Why does my schedule look so full all of a sudden? I just looked over at my team schedule. I'm like, hey.
What did they do?
Exactly. What happened here?
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Incredible.
6 meetings before lunch. Okay, fun.
Out of curiosity, chat, what did you think of the volume of the stream today? Was it any better? I've been working on the sound and some audio stuff. I'm hoping it was a bit better for you guys. But yeah, we can wrap up. This is about the time we should be anyways. We can just say our goodbyes. I don't know. Frost turned into a robot during the stream. Well, listen, he's either a vampire or a robot. Take your pick.
Can't easily be both.
It'd be, I guess it's possible, but you wouldn't truly be a vampire. You'd be like an imitation vampire.
Exactly.
A robot vampire. But what are you going to be up to, Frost? Where can they find you? What will you be doing?
Everybody can find me Tuesdays and Thursdays here on this channel doing this same kind of stuff, working on the lore for the game. But they can find me Sundays over on JT's channel for Rifts. They can find me Monday on Moonskull for Cthulhu. They can find me soon on Moonskull on Fridays for Strange Aeons. And I think we're doing premieres for Tales from the Dragon's Tavern, the Fear of Ages Past One Ring campaign on Saturdays now instead of Mondays. So, and then everything else you can find me on my Linktree, where I stream games and my own writing streams and all that fun stuff.
All right, cool. And you guys know where to find me. Find me on Tabletop, find me on Moonskull, find me here. Big thing that I'm pushing right now outside of Legend Seeker is Strange Aeons. That is going to be the new show. It's going to be starting up over on Moonskull. We have several streams winding down. You guys know that on Tabletop, Strange Winds has come to an end. We are coming to a close end for March of the Dragon Queen. So you're going to find a little bit of a void in content. And hey, we've added another show to help with that. It's going to be sort of it's Pathfinder. So it'll be in Galarian. And it'll still have that high fantasy feel, but it's going to be sort of a Lovecraftian element of it. It's really going to explore some of the more eldritch aspects of the universe. And to give you an idea of what this campaign is going to be like, all the players start out in an asylum together, and none of us have any memories of who we were or how we got there. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But we're trying to raise money for the artwork as well as the video, which is a little bit more expensive this time around because we weren't able to get Alaska Jeff, who usually cuts us a pretty good deal. We had to go through somebody else, and it was a significant difference. So if you feel like pre-tipping on the show, we are collecting those tips. You can go to our Discord to do it, or just go to our Streamlabs link. If you go to the video, there's a video for the stream. Strange Aeons already scheduled. It'll have a menu of things that you can get with your donation. And then attached to the initial thing, so let's say it's like give Erudi 3 bennies or something, because that would be a really good idea. It'll have next to it also add a Benny or a conviction or something to what's called the lottery. And there's a point in the stream where the lottery gets spilled and one of the players collects all the goods. You'll get to add double to the lottery if you pre-tip. So that'll help us get to the goal faster and kind of give us that warm and fuzzy feeling that we're going to be able to meet those goals. In exchange, you give a little bit more to the cast and get to participate a little stronger. So consider that. We would like to see you over there. I'm really excited for this show. It's a really good cast. It's so Noel's going to be GMing, and then it'll be me, Sevi. We'll have Frost and Chrysanth and Moss. That is a solid crew. I think everybody on that crew has really good chemistry together, and we're going to have some good storytelling and laughs for sure.
Definitely.
But all right, we'll wrap it there. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.